How many good cops you ever see stop a bad cop from being a bad cop?
They closed that window. They created the scenario where they only had a few seconds to react.
We have a problem that needs to be addressed. You think beating someone into compliance works?
Do I think beating somebody into compliance works?
Yeah, because I've seen these videos over and over again. I'm trying to figure out what they put your hands, and you constantly see some officer striking somebody. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. I've seen that a lot. And if you take a look at the
and you're talking, so I understand this. You're talking about put your hands behind your back, and they're punching them, and the person is putting their hands behind their back.
No, they're not putting their hands behind their back.
You know, well, you're taught in the academy when you do defensive tactics, pain compliance,
right?
With pressure points and things like that. Do I think it's effective? I do. Now, I don't think you have the right to pound somebody's head into the concrete or anything like that to get them to comply. I would suggest that you have to really have to evaluate what your use of force continuum is, to get that compliance. Some people are just not going to comply, and it can be passive or it can be aggressive.
Right.
You as police officers have to determine what level of force you have to use without crossing that threshold of excessive.
Do you think race has anything to do with the problem?
With TAMIR RICE?
No, just in general, policing today. Do you think race has anything to do with the problem?
I would say not 100%.
Okay.
But there have been circumstances where race obviously played a factor.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that, but I don't think that the vast majority of police officers and agencies are targeting things with a racial mindset or a racial attitude.
Okay. Would you agree, right, that police kill more, shoot and kill more whites than any other race on a yearly? Would you believe that?
I would believe that.
Okay. Would you also agree, right, that police kill, right, more unarmed blacks than any other race on a yearly basis?
Well, I think the statistics would support that.
Right. Okay. So what is the problem when we have white that consists of 77 million, right? And blacks consists of 33 million. You have whites that doubled. They doubled in the killing, the use of force. But when it comes to unarmed individuals, blacks lead that than any other race. How do we justify that?
Ooh, that's a difficult one to tackle because,
right.
I think that as a white officer, I've worked rich communities, I've worked poor communities, I've worked what they call the projects,
right.
Which are where I patrolled were predominantly black.
Right.
The interaction between the different ethnic groups and cultures was totally different.
Right.
You couldn't police, and this is a fact. You could not police the rich community the same way that you police the projects. It was a totally different approach. It was a totally different interaction with the community and the citizens. Down to, I can certainly tell you that I've had verbal judo twice because obviously when they pull you out of work in a what they quote a bad or hostile neighborhood and throw you into a rich community, whether it be a mixed rich community or not,
right.
There's a totally different interaction. You don't approach it the same way you do in the projects, and you know this because the individual in the projects typically approached me and created a situation that was escalated with verbal back and forth, where in the other areas it wasn't that way. And I'm sure it was the same way with you.
Right.
I mean, you could drive by. I mean, how many? I can remember driving down the road, just patrolling, and you get the finger and F you and everything else thrown at you in certain neighborhoods where you don't get that in other neighborhoods.
Right.
So your level of policing is totally different,
right.
And you have to be able to adapt to that.
Okay, when you say your level of policing is different, because in the academy, your training, right, you police everybody equally, right? There's no way to police blacks, no way to police whites. It's a universal training. We police everybody actually the same, right? Well,
you don't learn that in the academy.
Okay, so there's more training outside of the academy, right?
Correct.
That tells you to police blacks and whites differently?
Well, they don't tell you to police people differently. You just develop a way that you have to police to get the reactions that you want. I mean, you know, can I tell you, I've had more peaceful interactions in every neighborhood I've patrolled and worked by, you know, doing things that I felt like were more respectful.
Thanks for tuning in. Please continue following our social media accounts. This is Joe and Chris for Police Brutality Analysis. Thank you.